everybody, welcome back to another Stoneforge gaming video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a collection of Woodland Scenics and Scenic Express trees. Now, one of the biggest things that I wanted to basically put to the forefront of this video is if you look at this picture here. Now, this is just a sample forest picture, but you can actually see if you look at the base of where it goes from grass to shrubbery to trees, there's very little actual in between. There's the different layers. You can see all the different greens and sort of browns mixed in, kind of going back and forth. And this is really what I feel like a lot of people don't tend to capture with their trees. And that's really what I was actually going for with this particular set. And so you can see here there are a total of 7 trees. They are all, there are 3 of them that are of the one type, which the 3 larger trees, they are actually all Scenic Express trees, whereas what race really would be called evergreens. Those were actually the Woodland Scenics. Now you can see here on the base, the way that I've done this up is I've used a collection of mosses, some static grass, some clump foliage, things like that. And what I've done is kind of combine them together to create that very dense looking base to where it looks like all of the vegetation is sort of growing up around the tree. Now I have also, just so you guys know, the trees themselves, they come bare plastic. I did paint these up with a sort of grayish off brown color. I just did a very basic dry brush on them, and then I added on a little bit of flock and a little bit of extras. These are not the way they come out of the box. Actually, they are quite a bit different the way that I have them. You can see these particular ones, the Scenic Express ones, they have that little fuzzy stuff, which that's really pretty much more or less what they come out of the box like. And I've added all of the additional clump foliage and flocking and kind of accented the pieces basically just by sprinkling on some flocking and then spraying it down with some PVA glue. So you can actually see the big difference between the two is actually the materials of the Scenic Express and the Woodland Scenics. The Woodland Scenics actually uses clump foliage and is, I'm not sure if it's hot glued. It's something, there's some sort of yellowish glue. It might be wood glue even, but they're glued on very stiff. And whereas these ones, they use that sort of mesh foliage to kind of wrap around it, and then they glue that down. So the Woodland Scenics ones tend to be a little bit more, how do I put this, more durable on when they're right out of the package, whereas the Scenic Express ones, they take a little more work to get them up to a particular standard and to get them to that same level of hardiness. Now, I do really like the Scenic Express ones. It's just a different style of tree, and the armatures are a little bit different as well. They use similar armatures, but you can tell the differences. All in all, they're pretty easy to put together and to make the changes that I like to make. You can see there I've done a couple of different tones of the different foliage on the Scenic Express ones. But really, what I really like about these is the fact that when you have them together and you look at them from the side, they have that dense sort of foliage around the base to where, again, with this sort of a set of trees, you're trying to make it look more like a forest rather than just a standing set of trees. Now, I know a lot of people may disagree. They may say, well, you can look out and you can see there's pictures for both sides where you can see trees that are very well trimmed otherwise. But again, I'm looking from it from a fantasy standpoint, where you're probably looking at some sort of wood elf forest or something along those lines, where you're going to have, it's not going to be trimmed since people aren't going in there with a weed whacker or anything like that. So you really want that dense foliage around the base in order to kind of bring up the overall look of that very thick forested region. I hope you have all enjoyed this look at these different trees, and maybe it's given you guys some ideas as to if you want to pick up some of the Woodland Scenics or Scenic Express trees, and possibly how you can improve on their trees if you maybe don't like exactly the way they come right out of the package.